You know, I want you to take a moment and picture this with me. It's early morning, you wake up slowly, the sun's coming through the blinds, and you're feeling well rested for a change. You swing your legs over the edge of the bed, ready to start the day. And instead of that familiar tightness in your calves or that sharp, sudden cramp in your thigh, you feel strong, stable, steady. Your legs feel alive again. No wobbling, no heaviness, no fear of taking that first step. Just ease, confidence. Now, wouldn't that be something? For so many seniors, that little moment, just getting out of bed without pain or weakness, is something they miss. Something that used to be simple, but has slowly become a daily challenge. Maybe it's the midnight cramps that jerk you awake, or maybe it's the way your legs feel like jelly when you stand up from your favorite chair. Maybe it's the stairs, or the walk to the mailbox, or just that feeling of, I can't trust my own body the way I used to. If that's you, you're not alone, and you're definitely not out of options. Because here's the truth, and it's a powerful one. A lot of what you're feeling in your legs right now, whether it's cramps, weakness, stiffness, or fatigue, it isn't just old age. It's not your body giving up on you. It's your body asking for something, and often what it's asking for is nutrients. Simple, powerful, natural nutrition that most people just don't get enough of. And when you give your body what it needs, when you feed your legs the right fuel, they come back to life. That's what we're diving into today. This episode is all about 7 incredibly important vitamins and minerals that can boost your leg strength, reduce or even eliminate those awful cramps, improve your balance, and help you feel like you can move again. Without pain, without fear, and without feeling like you're walking on stilts. And when I say you'll feel the difference fast, I mean it. These aren't exotic, hard-to-find nutrients. You can start adding them into your daily routine right now, whether through food, supplements, or small changes to your lifestyle, and within days or weeks, you can start noticing real change. Now, let me be clear about something. This isn't going to be one of those dry medical lectures. I'm not here to throw a bunch of confusing terms at you, or read off lists of complicated studies. No, this is a conversation, just you and me. I've seen firsthand how these nutrients change lives. Real people, real seniors who were dealing with exactly what you're feeling now. One woman I spoke to, her name's Mary, she's 74, and used to wake up 3 or 4 times a week with leg cramps that would leave her in tears. She told me she was afraid to go to sleep some nights. After we worked on her nutrition, just a few simple additions, she went 2 full weeks without a single cramp. That hadn't happened in years. And let me tell you, she was smiling ear to ear. And here's what I love most about this. You're not just fixing a symptom. You're not just chasing away a cramp or putting a Band-Aid on leg pain. You're giving your body the building blocks to get stronger from the inside out. You're rebuilding. That's why this episode matters. Now, before we jump into the vitamins, and trust me, they're worth the wait, I just want to say thank you for being here. Whether this is your first time tuning into Health 360 Pro or you've been with us for a while, I'm really glad we get to have this time together. This podcast isn't just about health tips. It's about reclaiming independence. It's about feeling like yourself again. Because let's face it, aging doesn't mean giving up. It doesn't mean settling for less. It means learning how to take care of your body in a smarter, more compassionate way. That's what we're doing today. And if you're sitting there wondering if this will actually help you, maybe you've tried things before, maybe you've taken a supplement or 2 and didn't notice much, I hear you, I do. There's a lot of noise out there, and not everything works the way it promises. But what we're talking about today is backed by research. Yes, but more importantly, it's backed by real-life results from people just like you, seniors who wanted to feel stronger, more mobile, more in control of their bodies, and actually made it happen. So, let me ask you this. What would stronger legs mean for you? What would it feel like to stand up from your chair without that groan? To walk through the grocery store without having to lean on the cart? To dance? Yes, dance. A little in the kitchen while waiting for your coffee to brew? That's what this is about. It's not just vitamins, it's freedom, it's strength, it's confidence. It's the ability to trust your legs again and know that they're gonna carry you wherever you wanna go. That's the journey we're on today. So grab a cup of tea, get comfortable, and stay with me. Because we're about to dive into the real, natural, practical solutions that can bring your legs and your confidence back to life. Let's get started. Now, let's dive in and talk about one of the biggest game changers when it comes to leg strength and stopping those annoying, painful cramps. Vitamin D. This one is such a big deal. I always start here. It's one of those vitamins that seems simple on the surface. Everyone's heard of it, right? Sunshine vitamin, strong bones, that kind of thing. But here's the thing, most people don't realize. Vitamin D isn't just about bones. It's about how your muscles fire. It's about balance. It's about how quickly your legs respond when you stumble, or how strong your thighs feel when you go to stand up. And if you're low in vitamin D, and let's be honest, most seniors are, those things start to slip. I remember talking to a gentleman named Frank. He was in his late 60s, lived alone, loved woodworking, and had started noticing he just wasn't as steady on his feet. Nothing dramatic at first, just a little slower walking across the yard, a little more cautious on the steps. But then he slipped one day, just a small fall in his garage. And that's when he got worried. Turned out, after a blood test, his vitamin D levels were very low. We worked together to increase his intake with both food and supplements. And within about a month, he started feeling more stable, more sure of his steps, like his legs were actually working with him again instead of dragging behind. That's what vitamin D can do. Now, here's where it gets even more interesting. Vitamin D helps activate what are called fast-twitch muscle fibers. These are the fibers that fire when you need to catch yourself, when you need to take a quick step to the side, when you trip and have to react. As we age, we lose those fibers, but without enough vitamin D, we lose them even faster. So if you've noticed that your reactions are slower, that it takes longer to catch your balance, or that your legs just don't snap into motion like they used to, that could be your body asking for more vitamin D. And don't think you're alone. It's extremely common, especially if you spend a lot of time indoors, live in a cloudy area, or wear a lot of sunscreen. And here's another layer. Vitamin D doesn't just help muscles, it helps with inflammation too. Chronic inflammation in your muscles, especially in your legs, can lead to those dull, aching sensations. You know the ones, right? That deep, nagging fatigue in your thighs or calves, where even sitting doesn't fully relieve it. Vitamin D helps calm that. It helps your muscles recover better after use. And if you're someone who walks a lot, or maybe you've just started walking more, trying to stay active, it's even more important. Now, some people say, well, I get outside, I get sunlight, I should be fine. But what they don't realize is that as we age, our skin doesn't produce vitamin D from sunlight as efficiently. It's just one of those natural changes in the body. You could be getting sun and still not producing enough of the vitamin. That's why many seniors need to get it through food or a supplement. The good news, that's totally doable. Fatty fish like salmon, egg yolks, fortified dairy, all great sources. And of course, supplements are safe and effective when taken in the right amount. Most doctors recommend around 800 to 1,000 IUs a day for seniors, sometimes more if you're already deficient. So that's the power of vitamin D. It's not just something you take and forget about. It's something that helps you stand, walk, move, and move confidently. And if you've been feeling like your legs are just a little weaker, a little more hesitant, it might be time to take a closer look at your levels. Now, let's move into another powerhouse, calcium. Yes, it's the bone mineral, but again, just like with vitamin D, calcium is doing way more than people give it credit for. Your muscles? They rely on calcium to contract. Every time you take a step, push off the floor, climb stairs, that's calcium at work. It's like the spark that tells your muscle to move. Without enough calcium, your muscles don't fire properly. And what happens then? You get cramps, weakness, that heavy leg feeling that makes every movement feel like you're dragging sandbags. I had this amazing chat once with a retired nurse named Linda. She was in her 70s, super sharp, very health conscious, but still experiencing these horrible leg cramps at night. She said they would come out of nowhere, just hit her calves like lightning, and leave her sore for hours. And she was already taking magnesium, stretching, drinking water, doing all the right things. But when we looked closer at her diet, she wasn't getting nearly enough calcium. She had cut back on dairy because of her digestion and wasn't eating many greens. So we worked in a few changes, some fortified almond milk, canned sardines, which she swore she'd never eat but ended up loving. And yes, a low-dose calcium supplement. Within 2 weeks, those cramps, gone, completely gone. Now, it's important to mention something here. Calcium and vitamin D work as a team. One doesn't work well without the other. Think of vitamin D as the key that unlocks calcium's full potential. You can eat all the yogurt in the world, but if your vitamin D is low, your body's going to have a hard time absorbing and using that calcium. So, when you focus on one, you really need to focus on the other two. That's how you build strength, real, lasting strength. And when we talk about bones, we're not just talking about avoiding fractures. We're talking about confidence. I mean, how many seniors stop doing what they love, gardening, golfing, even just going for walks, because they're afraid of falling? They don't feel safe in their own legs. That's heartbreaking. But it doesn't have to be permanent. When your bones are strong and your muscles are supported with the right nutrients, you move differently. You feel different. You're not thinking about falling, you're thinking about where you want to go next. Now, let's shift to something a little less talked about, but just as critical. Vitamin B12. This one's huge. And honestly, a lot of people overlook it because the symptoms sneak up slowly. B12 is essential for your nervous system. It helps your brain talk to your muscles. When you're low on B12, those signals get fuzzy. That's when you start noticing weird things, like tingling in your feet, or that your legs feel heavy, or you stumble when you turn too fast. That's not just aging, that's your nerves calling for help. I can't tell you how many seniors I've met who were living with low-grade B12 deficiency for years without knowing it. They'd say things like, "I just don't have the energy I used to," or "My legs feel disconnected from my body." And it turned out their B12 levels were way below normal. Once we started correcting that, whether through food, supplements, or in some cases B12 shots, they started feeling like themselves again. Clearer, lighter, more in control. And here's something a lot of people don't realize. Your ability to absorb B12 declines as you get older. Even if you're eating meat or dairy, your stomach might not be processing it properly. This is especially true if you take medications for heartburn or diabetes. Those drugs can interfere with B12 absorption. So even if your diet looks good on paper, your body might not be getting what it needs. The cool thing about B12 is that it's one of the safest vitamins to supplement. You don't have to worry about taking too much. It's water soluble, so your body gets rid of what it doesn't need. And when it works, oh, you feel it. Your balance improves. Your legs don't feel like lead anymore. Your reaction time gets quicker. It's like someone turned the lights back on. So that's the trio we're starting with today. Vitamin D, calcium, and B12. Each one of them is a key player in helping you regain leg strength, prevent cramps, improve coordination, and just feel better in your body. And when you combine them, when you start creating a foundation with these nutrients, you're building something solid. You're not just managing symptoms, you're getting stronger from the inside out. And I want you to think about that the next time you feel that little twinge in your leg or that sense of instability. What if it's not a permanent condition? What if your body is just whispering to you, saying, "Hey, I need a little support here," because that's often what it is. And once you start giving it what it needs, once you start really listening, you'd be amazed at how quickly things can turn around. We've got more to explore in just a bit. Stick with me, because up next, we're going to talk about the real cramp killer that most people ignore, and how one little mineral can completely change the way your legs feel at night. Now, I want to shift gears and talk about a mineral that doesn't get nearly enough credit for how much it can do for your legs, especially when it comes to those sudden, jarring cramps in the middle of the night. You know the kind I'm talking about. 1 minute you're asleep, the next minute, boom. Your calf locks up like it's been twisted in a knot, and you're bolting upright in bed, trying to stretch it out, massaging it, walking around doing anything just to make it stop. That's not just bad luck. That's not just poor circulation. More often than not, that's your body screaming for magnesium. Magnesium is one of those unsung heroes in your body. It's working constantly behind the scenes, like the person at the concert running the soundboard, making sure everything's balanced, signals are getting through, and everything is running smoothly. Without enough magnesium, the whole system starts to go a little haywire. Muscles don't relax the way they should. Nerves get jumpy. You feel tense for no reason. And yes, cramps become a regular part of life, but they don't have to be. What I've seen time and time again, especially in seniors, is that once you start getting enough magnesium, those nighttime leg cramps, they start to fade. Some people notice a change in just a few nights. And it's not just the cramps. Magnesium helps with overall muscle function. It makes your legs feel more fluid, more cooperative. You're not working so hard to make every step. You're not stretching your calves before bed, hoping to ward off the pain. You're just moving better, resting better, recovering better. There's one conversation I had with a listener named George. He was 71, retired, and still very active. Loved playing golf and going on long walks with his dog. But he had this recurring issue with cramps. They'd come at night, but also sometimes during the day if he was on his feet for too long. He'd tried everything he could think of, drinking more water, eating more bananas, stretching, even one of those vibrating foot massagers. Nothing worked long term. We dug a little deeper, and it turned out his magnesium levels were on the low side. He added a supplement, changed up his meals to include more magnesium-rich foods, spinach, nuts, beans, and I kid you not, within a week, he told me he had the first cramp-free sleep he'd had in 6 months. That's how powerful this stuff can be when your body's been running on empty. And here's the thing, magnesium is used in over 300 different chemical processes in your body. It's like the multitasker of all multitaskers. It helps convert food into energy, helps regulate your heartbeat, calms your nervous system, and supports healthy bones. And yet, it's also one of the most common deficiencies, especially as we age. Why? Well, for starters, modern diets just aren't cutting it. Processed foods, even the ones that say fortified, don't give your body the real, absorbable magnesium it needs. And if you're taking medications like diuretics, proton pump inhibitors, or certain blood pressure pills, your magnesium can be getting flushed out faster than you're replacing it. So many seniors I've worked with had no idea their medications were quietly lowering their magnesium levels. They thought their fatigue, their tension, their cramps were just from aging. But once they replenished what was missing, it was like flipping a switch. Their muscles relaxed, their legs felt stronger, lighter. And one of the big surprises, many of them started sleeping better too. Because magnesium also helps regulate melatonin and supports deeper, more restorative sleep. When you're sleeping well and waking up without cramps, that's a big deal. That changes your whole day. And let me tell you, not all magnesium supplements are the same. Some forms are easier for your body to absorb than others. I've seen a lot of folks try magnesium oxide, the cheap kind, and it just doesn't do the trick. What tends to work better is something like magnesium glycinate or citrate, much easier on the stomach, much more effective for muscle relaxation. And of course, if you can get some through food, even better. Leafy greens, almonds, pumpkin seeds, black beans, avocado. They're all good sources. And when you start making magnesium a part of your daily rhythm, your legs start to feel like they belong to you again. Now, there's another mineral that often gets lumped into conversations about hydration and bananas, but let me tell you, it deserves a spotlight of its own. Potassium. This one's a real mover and shaker, especially when it comes to preventing cramps and helping your legs feel steady. Potassium works alongside magnesium to keep your muscles contracting and relaxing in a smooth, coordinated way. It also helps regulate fluid balance in your cells, which is huge. When you're low on potassium, your muscles can become tight, unpredictable, even painful. And your legs, they'll let you know pretty quickly. One of the classic signs of low potassium is that feeling like your muscles are just a little too tense all the time. You might notice a twitch that won't go away, or you might feel like your calf or thigh muscles are just clenched without any reason. That's potassium talking, or rather, your body telling you it's missing it. And cramps from low potassium aren't always dramatic. Sometimes they come on as this slow, tight pull, like your leg is being slowly wound like a rubber band until it snaps. But the beauty of potassium is, again, how responsive your body is to it. You start getting enough, and the difference is almost immediate. I remember this woman named Teresa. She was 80 years old, sharp as a tack, and super independent. But she had been dealing with what she called rubber legs. They'd just feel weak and shaky, especially after standing for a while. She had cut back on fruit because of her blood sugar, and wasn't eating a lot of veggies. Her potassium was way too low. We worked on gently adding in potassium-rich foods she could tolerate, like baked potatoes with the skin on, a little bit of orange every day, even coconut water. And wow, her energy picked up, her leg strength came back, and that shakiness, gone. She said, "It's like my legs are mine again." That's what's possible when you pay attention to these key nutrients. You're not just managing symptoms, you're solving the root cause. And potassium, like magnesium, doesn't work in isolation. It's part of a bigger system, part of how your body communicates, moves, stays balanced. It's not about taking a magic pill. It's about bringing your body back into alignment. And let's not forget how potassium supports your bones too. A lot of people don't know this, but potassium helps reduce acid buildup in the body, which protects your bones from slowly breaking down. When your body's too acidic, it starts pulling minerals like calcium from your bones to balance things out. That weakens your skeleton over time. Potassium helps buffer that acidity, keeping your bones and your legs strong and capable. It's another piece of the puzzle, one more way your body tries to protect you when it's given the right tools. And I want you to think about this. How would it feel to go through your day without thinking about your legs? Without dreading that moment when you have to stand up? Without wincing at the thought of a cramp waking you up again tonight? How would it feel to walk across the room and not worry about your legs giving out or your balance wobbling? That's the freedom we're working toward. That's the kind of change these nutrients can bring. Not overnight, but often a lot faster than people expect. You don't need to be an expert. You don't need to memorize a bunch of terms or track every milligram of every vitamin. You just need to start with awareness, start with curiosity, start listening to your body and giving it what it's been asking for all along. And trust that when you nourish it right, it's going to respond. It wants to move, it wants to heal. And more than anything, it wants to support you. We're just getting started. There are still a few more powerful nutrients to talk about, including one that hardly anyone pays attention to. But it might just be the key to keeping your joints fluid, your bones strong, and your legs moving the way they used to. Stick with me, we're going to get into that next. All right, let's keep going, because there's one more nutrient I've been itching to talk about. It's one that almost never makes the headlines, but it plays such a critical role in how our legs feel, move, and respond, especially as we get older. And it's vitamin K. Now, I know what you're thinking. Vitamin K? Isn't that just for blood clotting? That's what most people have heard about it. And yes, it does help with clotting. That's why folks on blood thinners are told to be mindful of it. But let me tell you, vitamin K is about so much more than that. Especially when we're talking about leg health, joint flexibility, and keeping your bones working for you, not against you. You see, vitamin K acts like a kind of traffic controller for calcium. It helps guide calcium to where it's needed, your bones, and keeps it out of where it doesn't belong, like your arteries or soft tissues. Think about that for a second. If your body is taking in calcium, but it's not being directed properly, it can end up in the wrong places. And that's when things get complicated. That's when your arteries get stiff, when circulation starts to suffer, when joints feel tight or swollen or just plain old rusty. But when you've got enough vitamin K, calcium gets deposited into your bone structure like it's supposed to. Everything moves smoother, your bones get stronger, your knees creak less, your legs start to feel like they're working with you again, not fighting against every step. I spoke with this sweet woman named Elaine, 81 years young, and still gardening like it was her life's purpose. She'd been feeling a little unsteady the last couple of years. Nothing alarming, just enough that she started to second guess herself when carrying watering cans or kneeling down to plant. Her doctor told her she had thinning bones, so she was taking her calcium and vitamin D, just like they said. But the problem was, she wasn't absorbing that calcium the right way. Her vitamin K levels were low. And the moment she started focusing on foods rich in vitamin K, those beautiful leafy greens, a little sauerkraut now and then, even the occasional bite of aged cheese, she started noticing her balance felt sharper. Her knees didn't ache as much at the end of the day. And get this, she said she felt more connected to her own body again, more sure-footed, like her muscles and bones were finally back on the same team. And that's exactly what vitamin K helps with. It's not flashy, it's not the most talked about nutrient, but it's the glue that helps everything stick together the right way. Your bones, your joints, your blood flow, it all starts to hum along better when vitamin K is part of the picture. And one thing I always like to remind people, if you're on blood thinners, yes, you need to talk to your doctor before changing anything. But that doesn't mean you have to avoid vitamin K completely. In fact, most experts now agree it's more important to have a consistent intake, not eliminate it altogether. So, if you're enjoying some spinach or kale a few times a week, that's a good thing. Just keep it steady. And while we're on the topic of nerve and muscle harmony, there's another vitamin that deserves some serious attention, vitamin B6. Now, this one is interesting because it works in such a variety of ways. It's like a behind-the-scenes technician that makes sure everything's running smoothly. And for seniors, especially those dealing with any kind of nerve pain, muscle weakness, or unexplained fatigue in the legs, vitamin B6 can be a total game changer. One of the biggest roles B6 plays is in supporting healthy nerve function. So imagine for a moment that your nerves are like electrical wires running through your body, sending messages from your brain to your muscles. Every time you take a step, Your brain sends that signal down the line, telling your legs what to do. But if those wires are frayed or the signal is weak, your legs don't get the message clearly. That's when things start to feel off. Maybe you feel a weird tingling or numbness in your feet. Maybe your gait starts to change and you can't quite put your finger on why. Or maybe your legs just feel tired all the time, even when you haven't done much. Vitamin B6 helps protect and strengthen those nerve pathways. It helps your body maintain a healthy connection between your mind and your muscles. I had a conversation not long ago with a man named Henry. He was 76 and said his legs felt like they just weren't listening to him anymore. Not weak exactly, but delayed, like the messages weren't getting through quickly enough. He was starting to trip over his own feet, which scared him because he'd always been so active. When we took a closer look, his B6 levels were pretty low. He wasn't eating a lot of protein, and he wasn't getting much variety in his diet. We started incorporating more B6-rich foods, things like chickpeas, tuna, some fortified cereals he enjoyed. And over a few weeks, he began to notice his stride improving. Not dramatically at first, but subtly. He said he felt like his feet were finally plugged in again. That's the kind of change you can't put a price on. And there's another piece to B6 that often gets overlooked. It helps your body produce hemoglobin. That's the protein in red blood cells that carries oxygen. So, when your B6 levels are low, your cells might not be getting the oxygen they need. And what happens when muscles don't get enough oxygen? They get tired fast, they feel heavy, they lose endurance. So, if you've ever found yourself out of breath or wiped out after a short walk, and you know your heart's in decent shape, it could be that your muscles just aren't getting fueled the way they should. Boosting your B6 can help correct that. It's not an instant fix, but over time, you'll feel the difference in your stamina and energy. And if you're someone who's been dealing with inflammation, whether it's from arthritis, old injuries, or just the wear and tear of life, vitamin B6 can help there too. It plays a role in reducing the body's inflammatory response, which means less swelling, less stiffness, and more freedom of movement. I don't have to tell you how frustrating it is when your legs feel like they have rusted overnight. You wake up ready to go, but your joints say, not yet. That slow start, that creaky stiffness, it chips away at your confidence. But with the right nutrients working in your favor, that morning, stiffness starts to ease. Your body loosens up faster. You don't feel like you're walking on frozen knees. Now, all of this, everything we've talked about so far, builds on itself. That's the beauty of how the body works. It's not like flipping one switch and everything's perfect. It's more like turning on a series of lights in a hallway. One by one, things start to illuminate. Your legs get stronger, your balance steadies, your energy picks up, you sleep better, you feel better. And little by little, you start to reclaim your rhythm, your independence, that sense of ease that might have felt out of reach for a while. And it's not just about movement, it's about what movement represents. Being able to carry your groceries without leaning on the cart, taking a walk around the block without sitting down halfway, feeling confident enough to dance at your granddaughter's wedding or play tag with your great-grandkids. Movement is memory, it's freedom, it's joy, and it's worth protecting. So, when you think about these vitamins, whether it's magnesium or potassium, vitamin D or B12, or these two lesser-known but equally powerful players, vitamin K and B6, know that each one is a gift you can give your body. A way of saying, I'm still in this. I still care about feeling good in my own skin. Because it's never too late to make a change. Never too late to feed your body better. Never too late to get stronger, steadier, and more capable. Stick with me, because in the final part of this episode, I'm going to wrap it all together, give you a powerful bonus tip you can start using today, and help you figure out how to make these changes in a way that fits your life. Because this isn't about perfection, it's about progress. And it's about showing up for yourself, one small decision at a time. So, now that we've walked through these powerful vitamins and minerals, these quiet little forces working behind the scenes to help your legs feel stronger, lighter, and more dependable, I want to leave you with something a little extra. A simple bonus tip that you can start doing today. Not tomorrow, not next week, today. Because one of the most empowering things about taking control of your health is realizing that the smallest actions, when done consistently, really do add up. And this one, it's easy, it's natural, and it helps every single one of the nutrients we've talked about work even better. Ready? Here it is. Hydrate with purpose. Now, before you roll your eyes or think, oh great, more water talk, just hear me out. This isn't just about drinking 8 glasses of water because someone said you should. It's about helping your body absorb and transport all those wonderful nutrients we just talked about. Think of hydration as the delivery service for your vitamins. Without enough water, your body can't move magnesium into your muscle cells. It can't circulate potassium to where it's needed. It struggles to regulate your temperature, cushion your joints, or flush out waste that could be contributing to inflammation. And you might be surprised at how many seniors walk around mildly dehydrated every single day. Not because they mean to, but because the sensation of thirst gets weaker with age. You might not feel thirsty until you're already low. You might sip a little here and there, thinking it's enough, but it's not quite getting you to where you need to be. And then, suddenly your legs start cramping, or your energy crashes, or your balance feels off. And it turns out, your body's just trying to run on fumes. So, the bonus tip is this. Pair every meal or snack with a glass of water, or a hydrating drink like herbal tea, coconut water, or a bit of diluted fruit juice if your blood sugar allows. And if you're taking supplements, especially magnesium or calcium, take them with a little extra water. That way, you're giving your body the tools and the transport to actually use what you're giving it. It's simple, it's doable, and it makes a big difference. Now, before we wrap this up, I just want to circle back to something important. This isn't about chasing perfection. This is about progress. Real, meaningful progress that starts with awareness, grows through consistency, and ends with you feeling stronger, more stable, and more in control of your health. Whether you start with 1 vitamin, 1 food change, 1 extra glass of water a day, it all counts. You're showing up for yourself. You're saying, my mobility matters. My quality of life matters. And that matters more than anything else. I know how discouraging it can be when your legs don't cooperate the way they used to. When you used to walk effortlessly, and now every step feels like a test. When a simple stretch or a quick movement leaves you sore for days. When the fear of falling creeps in and makes you hesitant to do the things you love. But I hope this episode reminded you that you are not powerless, that your body is still responding, still capable, still wired for healing and strength. You just have to give it what it's been quietly asking for all along. And if this episode spoke to you, if it made you think, yes, this is exactly what I've been dealing with, then I want to encourage you to take the next step. Share this with someone you care about, someone who might be quietly struggling too. Because sometimes we don't even realize how much better we could feel until someone lights the way. And if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss any of our future episodes. This is just the beginning. We've got so much more coming. Simple, practical, real advice to help you take charge of your health 1 step at a time. And hey, drop a comment too. Let me know what part of this episode stood out to you. What's one change you're gonna try this week? I'd love to hear your story. You've got this. Your legs are not the end of the story. They're the beginning of a new chapter. One where you feel stronger, move easier, sleep better, and wake up ready to go. Not held back by pain or fear, but supported by everything your body already knows how to do. You're not alone on this path. I'm right here with you every step of the way. Thanks for spending this time with me today. Stay strong, stay steady, and as always, stay well. I'll see you in the next episode.